Hi, my name is Stephanie Jimerson, and we teach at Cabot High School in Arkansas. I teach AP Environmental Science and Pre-AP Biology.
And I am Brandon Dottie. I teach AP and Pre-AP Chemistry.
Okay, so we work next to each other, and we saw that a lot of students weren't asking questions in class. So we made an anonymous survey and pushed it out to the science teachers, and they pushed it out to the science students of why they feared answering or asking questions in class. When we got the results back, about 25% of our population said that they do not like asking questions in class for fear of political reasons, or it was sexual in nature or religious, and they didn't want to be maybe attacked by their peers or deemed inappropriate um, by their teacher. So we brainstormed and came up with the idea of using a Google form, an anonymous Google form. And it would be a link open to our students, and they would be able to anonymously ask questions after certain content. And we can use those questions to guide our future instruction. Now, a lot of these questions, depending on your students, you might get a lot at the beginning or you might just get a few, but you can coach them to use this because you won't know who they are and they can be very honest. To help go through these questions, we created a simple acronym SELF to help teachers figure out what to use and what not to use.
So the S of self stands for suitable. First question you need to ask is, what is suitable for your content? So a good idea is to keep the Google form active all year long. That way you can keep referring to it. You don't have to create a new form each time. And you can organize the questions that students have based on topic, and that allows you to sort through them. And also that can allow you to better save questions for next year's. You need to think about if it's just a little bit tangible to the topic or if it's really, really all encompassing, and figure out if it's going to be a good segue into the next topic. E stands for extend. We really want to extend student learning. Some questions are not going to be worth your time. Some questions are simple misunderstandings that you may have already addressed or you can address really quickly. But the main goal is to actually push students to their maximum potential and really search for those threads that you can pull to get students to think for themselves and really go beyond what you normally would in the classroom.
The L in self is for line. Uh, what do I feel comfortable discussing, or you comfortable discussing without crossing the line? Now there are several lines. Sometimes you may be able to discuss more content with more mature classes, and that's just the nature of teaching. You know what your students can handle and the appropriate age to discuss certain topics. Sometimes we feel unbiased, but there's always a chance of perceived bias. Sometimes you get into these topics and you're like, I can remain completely unbiased, but in reality, you kind of have some bias there. Remember, we want this to be a tool to answer questions. Identify misconceptions is a huge one, and also good discussion starters. But we still want students to think and reason for themselves. We want to be a facilitator for this. We want them to be thinking and guiding themselves through science content. I always talk to Mr. Dottie and other science teachers before I think about a discussion for my classes. So it's always good to have a sounding board, or an administrator. Ask an administrator if you think a topic would be appropriate. And then personal preference or parent perspective. When I became a parent, and if my daughter came in from school and said, "Oh, we had a discussion about this," would I feel like it was okay? Functionality is for F. Can I make this discussion functional in my class? Several of these things are about the everyday in teaching, like will this content be too difficult? Do I have enough time? How many students will it help? And what's the best way to address it? And try to analyze all facets of the discussion.
So the good thing about this is really it's all about what you're comfortable with and how you make it your own in your classroom. We just wanted to provide a tool in some way for you to think through logically all the different things that are involved with talking about touchy subjects. So just remember that you really want to make sure you're presenting the facts and encouraging your students to reason for themselves. And hopefully it'll be a good addition to your classroom.
Thanks, everyone.